Welcome back to Nikki and Carly's show. We're glad to have you. Happy to have you back with us this week. So we switched weeks to Tuesday nights instead of Monday. Um, so Jake and I started going to Reengage, which is a marriage class last night. Our marriage is fine. Everything is fine. just, just touching up a little bit.
It's always good to do those. Like, I feel like even if you've been married 50 years, like, you should still. Can you hear us?
Hold please. What?
Are we
You need to
on?
be a little louder.
I do? I need to be louder. Nobody's ever said that to me before.
You need to be louder. Your mic needs to be able to have more gain.
Okay.
Not a lot. Just fair.
Checking.
better?
1, 2, 3.
Is that better?
Less attitude, yeah.
Oh, I'll get your less out. Maybe we do need to go to Reengage. Maybe we're about to learn something in this class.
Let me learn you something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so. Yes, so we're moving
He's
to
listening to
Tuesday
us, so
night.
I can't. But it's funny because you go through like a booklet, and I think it's 14 weeks, and it's like all this deep dive into your emotions and all that stuff. So we'll see. Maybe we do need it, but we'll find out. But they ask you to rate your marriage, like on the entry card, and
Yeah.
I put 10, and somebody did not. I was like, oh, maybe I'm not on board with everything.
Well, apparently we're not on the same page.
Maybe I'm the problem. I'm about to learn something, like you just said. But
That's
so
funny.
yeah, so there we are. But how are you? How's your week? Oh, you had a wreck day today.
I've had a wrecked week. Oh my gosh. Like, okay. So I'm driving home tonight and I'm just tired. Like, I've had such a horrible day, right? Like, I'll get into that in a second, but I'm like, man, I just feel like the devil is just attacking me. Like, what in the hell? And like, maybe I do need to do the podcast tonight because tonight we were going to do our God stories and change it up a little bit and just kind of go off, just go off Easter. We were supposed to do it last week, but we got to talking about
We did.
everything
We
else.
got way too
Right?
distracted last week.
So we were
That's the
gonna
work
do
of the devil, distraction.
really, I honestly, right? So
Hmm.
then this week has just been like the devil has just been attacking me. It's crazy. So hold on, let me tell you where it starts. First, our washer goes out, so we had to buy a new clothes washer. And then um, that was a whole ordeal, right? And then they were supposed to come, they didn't come. Like I took off work and everything, waiting around for it to come, didn't come. So like, oh, like I would go pick it up. Like they wouldn't let us pick it up. It had to be delivered. And so that came in today. Luckily, that was the one
Nice.
good thing about today.
Well, you were worried if they could get down your road with their truck. Were they able to get down the road?
Yeah, so yeah. Sorry. Because
What?
our driveway is really long
Really
and
long, like half an acre long.
it's really long. And so yeah, so they put our new cable line in. Well, it used to be at 14 feet. Well, now it's at 12 feet. So we were nervous that if they brought in a big box truck that they wouldn't fit underneath it. And we've been trying to have it dug in the ground, like buried. So, but they just haven't come out. It was really hard communicating because they didn't speak English. So it was, anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But so they deliver it, and Nicole's like, "Oh yeah, how'd they get it down?" I'm like, "Yeah, that guy had to walk it down my driveway." He was so mad.
You were
And
like,
then
"I'll talk to you about it on the podcast." I was like, "Uh oh."
he said, do you want me to put it at your garage, at your front door? And Ted's like, yeah, could you put it up on the front porch? Which is up on a couple stairs, like all the way down our driveway. This poor guy, because we weren't home.
Oh, you weren't home?
mm-mm.
Was it just
No,
one guy?
I don't know, but he came and delivered, and Ted was like, he is like, yeah, we're here to do your delivery, and he's like, ugh, I'm not home.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, so they had to walk the heavy washer down the driveway, which is very long. I felt bad. My son is gonna know what that feels like because he's gonna walk out the old one to the garbage. So yeah. And then so then today, I'm all excited. We have a new house that we're painting down at the beach. So we're all excited about this, being at the beach. It's gonna be so nice, the weather, just being on the beach. Well, we get there and the paint is like peeling on the house. So now I'm
Oh,
like,
man.
oh, this is turning into a disaster. And then of course there's rust everywhere, so we have to do that. Like there's just a lot of like repairs. So it was kind of like, okay, like totally being attacked here. I'm still gonna enjoy my beach. Like, devil, you
Right.
are not stealing my joy. So I kept like looking out at the ocean, like, oh, it's so pretty. I love this. Like,
I love this.
oh,
I love
woosah.
this. I love this.
Woosah, woosah, the beach. And then, so then I'm driving home to go get the kids. And a couple days ago, my car started like, it felt like the fuel injector was kind of not working right, and it was jarring when I was accelerating. So we do it, and it was kind of jarring pretty hard. And I'm like, okay, this doesn't really feel like the fuel injector. And no one's like, whoa, Mom, what? We're gonna get that fixed. And I'm like, yeah.
He's got whiplash going to school.
I know. And it's not. We're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's good. So
He
then,
did. The poor kid already has PTSD about getting dropped off at school. Your jank
yeah.
car. He's like, not today, please, not today.
I know, right? So, okay, so now I'm driving home, and now I get on the phone because I changed my doctor's appointment on Thursday. I was trying to do like Thursday where I got all my stuff done. I was going to take my car in, do my doctor's appointment because the kids and Ted are going on a field trip. And so I was like, okay, I changed my appointment. I got to get my car in because it's doing it still. Like, it's not the fuel injector because I put the stuff in to clean it and stuff. Well, I get on the phone with the guy to change the time, and I hang up, literally hang up, and my car goes, da, 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 and I'm like, oh shit. So it would not snap out of it. Like before I could take my foot off the gas and then it would go away and then I could hit the pedal and kind of like slowly go into it.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't do nothing. It would not accelerate. I coasted down the road to where I got to a like state park and pulled in there. I always break down at state parks. I spent 4 hours at a state park one time waiting for a tow truck.
It sounds like the beginning of a
cold.
Dateline story.
Seriously.
We
it's
found her
scary
car
because I'm
out of
scared.
gas at a state park.
Yeah. Seriously. It's scary being by yourself. Like, I was like, Ted, come get me, please. Come get me. I don't want to be here by myself. Because it's kind of like the part of town where, like, I was in another town from where I live. I'm in a different town right where all the homeless guys like to hang out. Like, they're right by there. And I'm like, man, like, they're probably sleeping in the woods right now. Like, I'm scared. So yeah, so I had to get a tow truck today, tow my car, Ted
To
come
Ocala.
pick me up. Yeah, I had to get my car towed to Ocala. Yeah, just for an hour and a half tow, it's $412, just FYI.
A friend
and it
told
was
me.
66 miles, go figure.
Oh,
Like, I'm like,
man.
really? Really, devil? Okay. So, yeah, and then, and then the other day, I got pulled over by state trooper, and I'm like, what the hell? Like,
Oh, that's right. You did get pulled over.
yes, so it's state trooper. I come up over the bridge, and surely I'm like, he's not coming for me, because as soon as I get to the top of the bridge, his lights turn on. And he pulls out, and I'm like, no way he's coming for me. Like, this guy just zoomed past me, like, really fast. And I was only going, like, 3-4 miles an hour over the speed limit. Well, he gets out, gets behind me, throws his lights on. Now I'm pissed. I'm like, oh, hell no, that guy just zoomed past me. Like, why are you coming for me? And he pulls me in, and I'm like, hey, officer. And he's like, hey, yeah, so I pulled you over because you have an expired tag. And I'm like, me? My, my car? Like, I do? And he's like, yes, ma'am, you have an expired tag. And he's like, do you have license and registration? And I'm like, yeah, let me think. And now I'm like, I'm nervous. Like when you get pulled over by a police officer, like it doesn't matter if you've done anything wrong or not.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. Like I get real nervous. So I'm like, I sit there for a second. I'm like, where's my registration? Let me just think this through. And I'm like,
Officer, could you tell me what it looks like? I mean, is it big paper, small paper? Where would I find said registration?
But no, but in my head, I'm thinking, shit, if I make any like fast movements, dude's gonna rip me out of the car, throw me on the ground, like, I'm gonna get it in my.
You and your mother, I don't know what to do with y'all.
So I'm reaching in my glove box, and there's like period stuff, so I'm like moving my period stuff, like I know he sees it, right?
And he's
I'm
watching to make sure you're not pulling out a gun because
yeah.
you look like a hood rat.
So I pull out my registration and it says 125. And I'm like, oh, this is an old one, but here's my registration. And he goes, do you have one that goes with the tag? And I'm like, I don't know. It's probably somewhere around here, but I don't know where it is. I have so many receipts in here. Like, I don't know. So he's like, okay, let me go run this really quick. And he comes back and he shows me and he's like, yeah, your tag says it's expired. But my tag had the sticker with 326. And I'm like, that's so weird because my husband's birthday's on my car and my birthday's on his car. Like, it's so odd, And he's like, yeah, there must be a problem with the system, so you need to go and get it checked out, and I'll just, But when I handed him the registration, it has the correct sticker on it. So I'm like, here's my registration. I'm handing him with the sticker on it, and I'm like, okay.
With the 326 sticker?
With the 125.
Oh.
125 stickers. So it totally looks. All I'm thinking in my head is this dude is about to rip me out of the car because
he thinks you stole the car.
A sticker off of another car.
Yeah, he thinks you stole it.
Shit. And he's like, do you have the registration with this sticker? No, I don't know where it is.
These aren't my pants.
These aren't my pants. This isn't my car. That's not my tag.
My favorite show is Cops, and we watch it, and every time the police officer asks a question like that, do you have the registration that goes with the tag on the car? And the people will be like, like they didn't hear the question, or they find paraphernalia in their pants, and every time they go, these aren't my pants. How many people are wearing other people's pants? Like, that's what I want to know, right? Like, I've never been out somewhere and be like, oh, these are not my pants. How did I even get these pants on? It's so weird.
I was like, I'm totally going to get taken out of this car and put in cuffs right now. Like, this dude totally thinks I'm full of shit.
Did you get a ticket?
No, he wrote me a warning. Oh, which I got a call on that. Crap, I have to make sure it's a warning. I called the courthouse and I'm like, because I went immediately. I went and picked up the kids, and then I went, which I had to tell the teacher. The other day, I had to tell the teacher I'm going to be late because I got pulled over. And then today, I'm like, my friend's picking my kids up because my car broke down.
They have real.
Like, this poor chick. I should have just told her I was doing a podcast on my God stories, and she'd be like, "Oh, I get it." Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I didn't have anything like that this week. I'm so tired. I had to turn my light down because my eyes are burning. Like they're.
It doesn't look like the light is turned down.
Straight burning. Straight burning.
It doesn't look like your light's turned down.
I know. And why am I so pale?
Like your light is really bright. Maybe you should turn it down a little bit more. Don't mess
Why
with
are
it.
you attacking me?
The podcast is gonna go off. Don't mess with it. Just be white.
Yeah, let me try. Yeah, look. This. Oh, Carly. Oh, we've got to get Jimmy on. I was at a party this weekend, and the grandfather's name was Peepo. No shit, Peepo. I was like, yes, that is an awesome. Like, what's up, Peepo? Like, I'm like,
What about
that's
people? That's how we're gonna talk to our
okay.
cousin
Wait,
now.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so we've had a fun week. It's been busy. We
Yeah.
gosh, we've done all kinds of stuff. So, so I did buy this new comforter for my bed, and I was gonna redo my room. And then last night, so I walk in my sleep a lot and talk in my sleep a lot, and I have these 4 pictures on my wall. I think I've told you that before, and they're all the same picture. They came from a hotel room. I didn't steal them, like Carly steals cars. But they have like all the same seashell in them. Well, when I get up to sleepwalk, I see that as I get out of bed, and then I walk. And then by the time I get to the door, mostly, sometimes to the kitchen, I go, oh, I'm home. And so last night, I probably walked 3 times last night and woke myself up and looked at like, oh no, I'm home. So I'm like, okay, great. Can't change my room. Those have to stay there forever, or I could wander out to nowhere.
Yeah.
So last night I was just laying in bed at 3 o'clock, like, surely it's got to be like 6. And I looked at the clock, I was like, oh, it's 3. Like,
I
you've
hate
got to go
that.
back to bed.
I hate
It's
that
awful.
feeling.
And then the night before, Emily ran her last college race this past weekend. And she's super excited about it because, I mean, she's been running since middle school. So she's been running every day, 5 a.m. practice, most of her career. And she's like, I'm done. I'm done running. So she ran her last race. Well, I wrote a super mushy letter to her about how proud I was of her and stuff. Literally cried myself to sleep. Probably didn't go to bed till like 1:30 the night before because I was just bawling my eyes out. And she's like, thanks.
Yeah. No, you're like, that's it. I
Yeah.
like bawling my eyes
Yeah.
out, and that's it. That's all I get.
So
Thanks.
my eyes are still swollen from 2 days ago. And she's like, thanks. And then she said tonight, she saw the pictures I posted. She's like, she calls me her biggest op, which I think it means fan. And that's what I'm going to go with. No, no. It's the
What?
opposite. Like,
Oh.
I guess it means like I hate her. She's like, why would you post these pictures? You hate me? You hate me.
You did post a picture of her with a bloody nose. Like, that was kind of wrong.
She pointed that one out too. I was like, captures the
I
whole
mean,
part of the letter.
I get it because, it was tough and hard times, but that was kind of a gruesome picture.
I mean, listen, but I was super proud of her. I mean, it's been an amazing journey for her. So it's pretty exciting to see her move on. And then Haley finished her last college class. God,
I know.
this
that's
girl,
so
I
good.
mean, she's freaking amazing. She graduated in 3 years with a 4.0 from Alabama, all while having a baby and getting married.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
Who does that?
Who does that? She's like a genius.
Right.
She's like and she started her own business, and she's
Yeah.
just killing it at life. I'm just so proud of her.
Yeah.
So pretty excited for her. She I don't think she listens to this, so it's fine. I don't think she has time to listen to our podcast, but it's okay.
She probably doesn't.
No.
But
She has a
I mean,
2-year-old.
she really is amazing. Like, you really do have a really good daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know it's a huge blessing to have a daughter-in-law that you love and care about, and that fits well. So it's really been fun. And then we went to a draft party this weekend. It was super fun. Talk
Yeah.
about proud of somebody. Man, I'm proud of that kid. He just worked so hard, and just to see
Yeah.
him come through high school and go through college and just be able to like come to his career. It was just so
Yeah.
fun to be there, and I just
I
can't
didn't
say
know
enough
he was
about him.
there with you.
Yeah, we were there with them, and we were there for a couple hours, and yeah, he ended up signing as a free agent for Tampa Bay. So we're pretty
Yeah.
excited for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
But
Well, yeah, you had a very exciting week.
yeah.
I feel like I just got beat to shit. What the hell?
Well, and I think it's funny
Whatever
because
this thing-
so when we started our podcast, our husbands were like, "Don't like tell everything right away," and we're like, "We're fine. We have plenty of stories. We have lots of stuff to tell." And then all of a sudden we're like, "Uh-oh," like. And so Carly tells me I have to go in public so I can embarrass myself, so we have something to talk about. But which I've been working a lot, which is good. So I haven't really had time to embarrass myself that much, but it's been okay. I think it's behind the scenes stuff that you don't see, like when your computer doesn't start, or you know, video just yourself the whole time, or you do a whole podcast where you don't play any sound, and you video just you. But you know, I mean, I think like today, like you said, man, I just didn't feel like it, but I know I needed to do it. So I'm proud of you for coming on. You're like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm in bed. She's like,
No, I'm like, you have like little time to get
you know.
ready.
And she's like, do you have makeup on? I'm like, stop attacking me. Stop attacking me. So I put lipstick on, and this is like that stay on lipstick. So
Yeah.
I told Jake, I was like, when I wash my face tonight, I'm having red lips. Like I'm gonna wake up like, good morning, like Snow White. I look like Snow White right now. Skin is so white. But yeah,
So
so
yeah, go ahead. Do you have so we have God stories tonight. So just
we play a game in our house. Well, we haven't done it in a long time because everybody's grown and gone. But we used to play a game like whenever stuff would get real hard, we'd say, okay, tell me a God story. Like the story had to be where it could only be God. So nothing you did or anybody else did. And it was where you just strictly knew that it was God intervening. And so that was kind of fun because it always just reminded you that, you know, this is bigger than us. It's more than what we're about. And, you know, I like the analogy of God's already seen the game end, so we're just watching it. You know, like when you videotape the football game, he already knows who wins. He wins. Spoiler alert. But, you know, we're just playing the game. So I like that analogy. I think I've told you before when I get super stressed out, I watch Planet Earth. My kid's all like, Mom's crazy. Don't talk to Mom when I'm watching Planet Earth. Because it just reminds me that I'm so small in this world. You know, that my problems are so small in this world compared to what God handles. And it just makes me feel peaceful, you know, to watch and say, you know, look at how God takes care of the birds, you know, and here I am worried about, I don't know, whatever, everything, you know, so, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, like Nate came home from school and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't make dinner. So, yeah, very small in the world, but it's fine. But so yeah, so that's fun. We used to do that. We don't really do that anymore. I used to have a journal that I would keep stories into. What about you? What do you do?
uh,
Way to be prepared. What's your church say? Waymaker. Carly.
Waymaker.
Carly's a waymaker tonight.
No, well, it's funny because, like, when I think about my God stories, like, I feel like a lot of them happen when I'm driving, like, in the car with the vehicle. Like, it's so weird, but, like, most of my God stories are in a vehicle. But,
Oh, I'm shaking the table. So I mean, I share this a lot, but it's kind of a long story, so I'm going to just shorten it. But Jake is the reason why I was saved. So we grew up not going to church. I never went to church. I went to church one time with a friend for Easter. And really it was just to go get the treats. Like I didn't know what we were going for. I was little. But we just didn't go to church and didn't do any of that. And so Jake and I got engaged. And one day he came to me. I had my dress. Invitations were out. You know, and Jake came and said, I can't marry you. We're not equally yoked. And I'm like, what do eggs have to do with us getting married? Like, if you have cold feet, just say it. Like, why eggs? I mean, I had no idea what he was talking about. Anyway, fast forward. I said, you know, I'll learn about your God, but that doesn't mean I'm going to believe in him. And a friend of mine at the time, her dad was a pastor, and so she had a Bible study for college-age students. And so I started going to that with her and learning and, you know, reading stories and just kind of understanding who Jesus was. And then, I mean, I was moving back to Fort Lauderdale and we were broke up. And I mean, it was the wedding was on hold and it was a hard time. You know, but we loved each other so much that we just didn't want to give up. And so I said, hey, I have to go to a wedding down south. Will you go with me? You know, I don't want to go by myself. And so he said, yeah. And it was around Christmas time also. Oh, first Christmas happened. And my grandfather was dying. And I was supposed to go home to Arkansas with Jake, where his family, every five words is Jesus. So, you know, and I was like, if I hear Jesus one more time, I'm going to throw up. Like, if somebody says Jesus, and it's Christmas. So how do you not say Jesus at a Christian's house on Christmas? So they were like, ixnay on Jesus. Nobody say Jesus. But so we went there, and Nancy and Leon were so amazing because they supported Jake 100% and also loved me 100%. Like, there was no doubt that they just 100% loved me, but 100% supported his son. So that was a really interesting trip for me to see that, like, in real life and living it. And then, and my grandfather gave me his blessing. He said, I know this is important, and I know you love me, and I don't need you to be here for me to know you love me. So he gave me my blessing to leave. But then, so anyway, I invite Jake to this wedding. So we go to this wedding. It's a huge, huge church. The pastor preaches for an hour on fire and brimstone. Like, you're going to hell. If you don't give your life to Christ, you're going to hell. I mean, it was like so fire and brimstone. And Jake's like, that's it. I've lost her. Like, this is like, she's never going to listen to me or go to church ever again after this.
Yeah.
And I punched him. And I said, why did you say that? Like, why didn't you say I had to get Jesus first and then everything else came? You know, I thought I had to, like, change my life before I got Jesus. And it was like, no, you get Jesus first and then your life changes because of him. And so that's actually when I saw the light, if you will, you know, about what it was and stuff. So that's how I became saved, was through Jake. And then we ended up getting married, and here we are 25 years later going to re-engage. No. I'm teasing about re-engage. I'm actually pretty excited about it. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And just, so everybody watched us on that journey, you know. And so my family was learning with me about it because they wanted to know what was happening and what was he talking about. And, you know, and everybody understood how much he loved me. So, and I think that one of the key points too was, Jake said to me, he said, I don't care if you hate me forever. I just need to know that you're in heaven. And so I was like, oh, okay, you really love me, but you know, this is for me, not for you. And so that was pretty cool. But that decision for him to make has changed so many lives. I mean,
So many lives, even mine.
yeah, because my
that's-
family,
My mom, our mom, started going to church.
right, and Pop was already a believer, but he wasn't going to church, so they started going back to church, and they're probably the most giving people, serving people in the church I know. I mean, they were always serving the church, and then and then you guys went, and then Ted, you know, followed behind you, and so I mean, it was just a ripple effect that affected everybody in my life because they were watching us go through this journey and learning with us. I mean, it was so powerful. I mean, it was just. It's still so powerful. So I have a yoke hanging in my staircase. It took me 15 years to find it, but I finally found one, an antique yoke. And a yoke it's a wood apparatus, and you put one oxen in it, and then usually a younger oxen in the other side. And that one is supposed to learn from the bigger one, and the bigger one carries most of the weight. And the idea of being equally yoked is, if you're trying to go different directions, it doesn't work. But if you're going the same direction, then that works, right? So, and then the other parable for that is that the one oxen takes the load. And so Jesus says, take my yoke. Because he's saying, let me carry the weight and you follow me. I'll lead the way. I'll do the heavy work and you follow me. So it's really cool. It's a good reminder every day to see it up there and just be like, okay, yeah, you have most of, you know, I'm following you. You're leading me, you know, and then it always reminds me of our marriage and how we started out really strong.
I did not know that's why you had that yoke.
Oh.
Glad you just enlightened me. All these years, like, my bad.
Yeah,
You
it's
never
just a
explained
reminder
that.
of our marriage because we were not equally yoked, and then and that's how I got saved, was because he said that. So,
Yeah.
and you know, and my life had changed. I mean, taught children's ministry. I've been in a position of a, substitute children's minister for a couple churches. And I mean, so yeah, I know, shocking. I love Jesus, but I cuss a little. But,
Yeah, right.
but I mean, yeah, so it's been life changing just having that and seeing that. And of course, my children's lives are changed for it and so on and so forth for generations. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh.
really make that short, sorry.
It's fine.
It's fine.
No, but that's a good story. Like, it's good, because it's important. And I just, I like to see how God plays in your life, too. Like, it's fun to.
It's
to
hard.
kinda know.
It's hard. I mean, when God tells you something, it's funny because a couple years ago, God told me to quit drinking. And I fought him. I was like, I don't have a problem. I don't know why I have to stop drinking. I'm fine. I just drink at home. I drink wine at night. No big deal. I don't drive. I'm not stupid. I'm not saying I haven't been stupid, but I was like, why do I have to quit drinking? And I fought with God, and God kept talking to me and kept tapping me and kept tapping me. And so finally I quit. And I argued with him for a while. And I'm like, I don't understand. And so I would keep asking God, why do I have to quit? Why do I have to quit? Like, what's the point? What's it going to change? And God audibly said to me, you don't have to know why, you just have to follow me. Basically shut up and do what I'm telling you to do.
Mhm.
So it's been 2 years since I quit drinking, and 2.5 years since I quit drinking. And I'll tell you, I know why God told me that, because there's no way he could have answered that question in a way that I would have understood 2 years ago. I mean, to see how many lives, I mean, here I thought my drinking was just for me, but to see how many people recognized it and how many people understood that I quit, and they had so many questions of like, well, how did God talk to you? What did he say? How do you hear God? How do you know? And I mean, the only answer I have is like, when God talks to me, he's talking to my soul. I hear his voice. And there's no denying that it's him. One, God will never tell you anything that's not true with the Bible, or, that's not holy. But, I've had a group of teenagers come up to me and say, Miss Nicole, when are you going to start drinking again? And I'm like, how do you know that I quit drinking?
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? And so just things in life that have happened that if I had been drinking, I wouldn't have been able to handle it in the way that I did. I mean, I had a girl call me. She had taken a lot of pills. She was trying to commit suicide. And had I been drinking, I couldn't have helped her. I couldn't have been there. I couldn't have answered that call. I couldn't have gone and helped her. So, I mean, there's been so many huge things I would have never been able to put into words. I still can't put into words of how many people that affected in that ripple effect. I had my nail girl. We had a good relationship. I would see her, all the time. And I'd go in the nail salon and they'd offer me a drink. And of course I would take it. I'm not going to turn down free wine, even if it was a shit, box wine. But so she offered me a drink and I said, no, I quit drinking. And she's like, what? You quit drinking? And I'm like, yeah, and she's like, why? And so I said, and I hear, I'm like, God, please don't make me tell her. Like, this sounds so terrible. Like, it doesn't sound great when you say, well, God told me. You know what I mean? It's like you look like a freak.
Yeah.
And he's like, tell her. And I'm like, God made me quit. And she's like, what do you mean? God talks to you. And I'm like, all right, slow it down. Like, I mean, she was getting all over me. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean he talks to you? How does God talk to you? Does he talk to you in a dream? Does he talk to you like this? I mean, just grilling me. And I'm like, all right, like this is to the beginning. So, I'm already a little sensitive about it. And now I'm not. But, and then she was like, well, how does he talk to you? And I'm like, I don't know, I just hear his voice. And she was like, can he talk to you in a dream? I was like, I guess. I mean, God can talk to you all kinds of ways. I mean, if he's trying to tell you something, I said, what do you think God is telling you? Because, God will only tell you certain things. And she said, he's come to my dream and he told me to go back to church. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably God. Like, yeah, it's probably God.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was freaked out, like almost shaking. And, I left and I thought she just, grilled at me on it. And I came back a couple weeks later and she said, I told my brother what you said, and he thought I was crazy. That why would you talk to this crazy lady that was talking to God? And she said, no,
Yeah.
he talked to me in my dream. And she said, look, I'm trying to not be emotional, so my voice is shaky, but she said, my whole family is back at church. And she said, I didn't know God could talk to you. I didn't know that he would actually talk to me, that he cared. So she said, so when you said that, she said, I listened. And she said, and now my whole family is back in church. And update on that story, she was getting a divorce with her husband and moved out. And last I heard, she had come back and they reconciled.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you don't always get to see that seed that you plant, but I was
Yeah.
really, really blessed to see that seed and see it grow, and I was like, man, what a blessing for that, you know. But it was
Yeah.
super cool. But so I mean, you know, when God calls you, you have to do it. And a friend of mine said in the midst of that, the whole point of that was, she said, "Oh man, I really wish God talked to me," and I was like, maybe not. Maybe not. It's not always fun. Like when God tells you to do something, it's not like, oh, you're going to get flowers today. He's like, this is going to suck, but you have to do it. You know, it's never like an easy thing. You know, it's always like a, really? Like you want me to do that? Like, you know, I can't do that. And so I always have to remember that God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called, you know, and so it's all the things you have to just that mantra in your head, like, okay, he's going to give me the tools to do this. If he's asked me to do it, he's going to give me the tools.
Yeah, which is really hard to wrap your head around because so for me, growing up, I went at my high school. We had quite a few deaf and blind and just students with disabilities. I didn't really have any Down syndrome kids at our school, but I loved to help them. And every day I would walk. I had a blind boy that I would help walk him to his class. And I just loved it. I did. And I grew up loving horses. Like, horses is my thing, right? So, fast forward, I have a horse, and I had to sell my horse to go to college. Well, my horse ended up going to a riding facility for handicapped children. So I would go down and visit him while he was there, and that's where I really fell in love with it. Like, it was just, this is like my love. I love this so much. And so Ted and I would volunteer and go and help when, like, Brooks Rehab would go to a riding facility, and we would go and sign up to volunteer. And if you can ever do that, it is the best thing to
Best
do.
thing
Like,
ever.
So it just fills your heart. Like, it's such a good feeling for your soul. Just
and you
to
can't
be
even
there.
explain it. You can't even
No.
explain how these kids react when they get on a horse and how the horse reacts to these kids. And it gives them this power that they just never had.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just life changing for them. It's unbelievable. Every time I can't even
Yeah.
fathom
It's
how important it is.
so great. So we did that, and then I'm like, I really want to have a riding facility for handicapped children. Like this, I want to do this. Like, it is a goal of mine. So Nicole talks to this lady at the restaurant, and she was looking for somebody to come work at her barn. So I was like, great, yeah, sign me up. I'm gonna come. So I go, I start working there. Well, it was a jumping barn, and she was gonna let me start it up and do a riding facility for handicapped children. Well, being at the barn, it was just too much drama. It wasn't a good environment to start this type of business. Like, there was too much going on there. So I left. Fast forward, Ted and I get married. We have kids. Our third child has Down syndrome. So it's like, okay, God, like, I know what I'm supposed to do. Like, thanks for that. So he totally opened my eyes. Like, this is your job, like your purpose. Now go make something of it. So now here we are. We're trying to start our property. We're trying to get it going. We had to redo the back property, and I feel like everything. It's funny because you can look back and see where God has touched you in your life. Where at the time you're like, damn, this is such a setback, but at the same time you're like, oh, that was probably way for the best. Like, God totally
Right.
had his hand on that. So and we were redoing the back, and we just had just setback after setback. Like the trees were all buried, so we had to dig up all the trees, pull the trees out. We brought 30 dirt loads.
Well, yeah, because, and just kind of explain, because I didn't know this, so I'm just going to explain it to y'all, because you may not know this, but, so when they cleared the lot, they just put the trees and then put the dirt over it. So then, but in order for it to be stable, they had to pull the trees out, which then left these big divots where the trees were,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So you had to
yeah,
fill
so
the big
back
divots.
of our property, the back of our property had like little ponds starting where the trees were starting to, go away and the ground
Deteriorate.
was going down. So it was creating these little ponds. So we had to get all the tree out, fill it with dirt to level it out, and then leveled it out, made swells and everything. Well, we were dumping so much money into this. Like it was just dirt. I mean, and each load is over $200. It was like 225, 250 a load. So we're just dumping money back there, and I'm like, really, like this is all my barn money. Like, man. So I'm like, we're done. Like I don't have any more money. We can't finish the back. We need more dirt. Well, Ted does a scratch off, $5,000. We won. So we finished the back with that money, and it was like, okay, thank you, God. Like I know that was totally your hands on that, like no doubt. And then, it's funny because you can just see everything happening for a reason, and the way it all happens, and it's hard to be in the moment and not be impatient, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, like God has timing, everything's in His timing. Like I know what I'm supposed to do, it's supposed to work. And then I met this lady here who went over like everything. She knew all this stuff. I think I talked about this on here. But she had already done all the research for doing a writing facility in this area, but she couldn't do it because she didn't have the property. She didn't have all the stuff she needed, but she had all the brains and the information for it. So I was like, man, I wish, and this is years ago, this is like 4 years ago, and I'm like, man, I wish I could meet back up with this girl. Like, I want to find her. I don't know how to find her. I don't know her name. I only know her first name. And so I was literally like telling mom about this, and then a week later, we go to a show down in Ocala, and it's like a big sale, like a, I don't know. They were doing just like all different vendors and stuff, in the Ocala World Equestrian Center. And we go in there, and lo and behold, I'm like, Mom, I think that's Amanda. Like, we have to go over and talk to her. I'm pretty sure that's Amanda. And I'm like waiting, and I'm like, man, that looks just like her. It's her. It's gotta be her. So I go up and I talk to her, and I'm like, hey, I'm Carly. I talked to you about the writing business. She's like, oh my gosh, you did? And oh my gosh, I have a new job. I'm working for the county. Blah blah. Like all this stuff. She's just spouting off all this stuff, and I'm trying not to bawl my eyes out because I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just praying for this woman last week. Like, Lord, how am I gonna find her? And then here she is, an hour and change away from my house. Like, she wasn't even supposed to be. She's like, this is crazy. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. I just came on a whim. Like, I wasn't even gonna be here. And then, we're talking to her, and her husband does like plumbing and electrical and stuff. And he's like, yeah, let me know when you're ready. I'll come put it in. You just supply the stuff. I'll put it in for free. Just let me
Wow,
know.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was literally in there, like trying not to bawl my eyes out. I went over to mom and I'm like, Mom.
Mom's not the
It
best
was,
person to go to because she's like,
it
are you
was,
okay? And then you just cry.
like I'm getting emotional now, but it was just like, oh God, that was so God's hands on that. It was insane.
Well, I remember you were trying to get permits and stuff, and you were super nervous about it, and you were reading all this stuff, and I was like, Carly, God put this on your heart when you were 14. Like, He's been planning this out. It's not, he's a way maker, right? Like, He's
Yeah.
gonna make it happen. It's gonna work. And then you got the call from the city, and everything was fine. And I remember you just
Yeah.
bawling your eyes out because you were like, "There's no way that could have happened."
Yeah, they were trying to give me a hard time. They were telling me that I was gonna have to go through the courts and like rezone my property and stuff. And I was like, no way. And I met a woman through church that I go to church with that works for the city. So I call her up and I'm like, hey, I was just wondering if you could help me and come sit in with me. Well, she's a big wig for the city, and
Oh wow.
I didn't really realize this, right? Well, I go in to talk to them and totally change their tune. They were like, "Oh yeah, no, we thought you were doing this, that, and the other, and yeah, no, you can go ahead. You have no problems. You can go ahead and start it up. Yeah, no,
It's
you should have
crazy.
no problem with any permits, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Ooh." Because when I bought this property, they said it was no problem. Like we're on ag, like, and then they were trying to give me a hard time about it. I'm like, no, 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 like, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, God is like in my life all the time, and I see it. So like, there's no way I could not be a believer. Like,
I know it's
it's
funny
crazy.
because people ask, and you're like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know God's work, you can't unsee it. And then, I mean, you know, like if I start a diet, I'm eating cookies, right? But if God tells me I'm doing something, I'm like, oh, I can't break that. That's a
Yeah, yeah.
that's a different thing altogether. So I have one more story that we can tell together, and it's a probably one of the coolest stories I've ever had in my life with how watching God work the chess pieces and move them around and how he does things. So,
Mhm.
ooh, ooh,
Yeah,
I'm emotional
emotional.
this week. Yeah. Ooh. So, so our dad was sick, and Carly and I went to visit him. He had moved to Asheville, North Carolina, and we walked up, and Dad came out to greet us, and we both could have hit our knees. We were like,
I did
"Oh,
hit my knees crying.
yeah, oh, you're sick, you're sick. What's wrong?" And he was like, "I'm fine. You're just not used to seeing me as an old man." And Carly and I were like, "No, we know you're sick. You know what's happening." Well, our dad was an old hippie, and he refused to go to the doctor to get fixed, and so we knew he had cancer, but he was in denial about it. So, um, this was a couple years, and we had all tried to talk to him about Christianity and Jesus, and he gave us books, we gave him books. We just kind of always were oil and water on it, and he just never would listen to us. And there's two men in our dad's life that he totally respected, and that's our stepdad and my father-in-law. So Dennis and Leon were the only two men that he would ever really listen to, which is ironic, right? I
Yeah,
mean, his ex-wife's husband and his his daughter's father-in-law. So
yeah.
so Dad lived in Asheville. Mom and Dennis had a chalet in North Carolina, what they currently live in now. But at the time, it was their vacation house in Murphy, North Carolina. And then Papa Leon he was doing a subcontract job in South Carolina. So like this perfect triangle. And it was our 10-year anniversary. And so Jake, we 10 years married. Our kids were little. We didn't have any money. Mom said, "Hey, why don't you guys go to the chalet for the weekend? I'll keep the kids while you go." And so we were like, "Perfect." We said, "Well, we're only 45 minutes from Asheville. We'll go over, spend the day in Asheville, go say hi to Dad." Jake was the last person that Dad hadn't said goodbye to. And so we said, we'll go over and say hi and spend the day with them and go to Asheville and, tour the city and whatnot. So we ended up going, and it was Super Bowl weekend. So we're going to see we're going to see Dad, spend the morning with him, go to Asheville, spend the night in the thing, and then go with Papa to watch the Super Bowl in South Carolina. Well, we ended up getting to Asheville, and the weather was terrible. So we said, we'll just stay here with you, Dad. And we spent the whole day with him. And then we went back to the chalet at Black Ice that night. And we got the call that he went into a coma. Well, we couldn't go that night. So we ended up going the next morning and staying there with him at the hospital. And at that point, I think I called you. And we went back it was closer to go to Leon's place than to go back to the chalet. So we closed on the chalet and we went to Leon's house. And I stayed the night at the hospital. And Leon was supposed to do a thing. And he said, "You know what? I'm just going to come with y'all to the hospital. I want to see Donnie anyway. I'll just come." So Papa came with us back to the hospital. And he's in the ICU. He came out of the coma. And Papa went in to talk to him. And he gave his life to Christ that night. And then Carly was on her way. I called her. I said, you need to come, get in the car. So her and Ted got in the car and started driving to North Carolina. And so he had given his life to Christ, and then he ended up passing the next morning. But it was the coolest thing to see how God had placed us all in the right places at the right time. You know, and Mom was with the kids, and we didn't have to rush home. So we could stay there and be with them. Carly came up, got there just in time, you know, so she was there to say goodbye. And, you know, Leon was there in his life to be able to talk truth into him. I mean, it was just such a cool chess game just to see how the years and how this timing and how we would have never seen it, how we looked at it forward, only can look at it going backwards. It was just the most amazing situation. Carly, your take on that?
Yeah, no, it really was, because I remember, I don't know, it was really comforting knowing that I'll get to see him again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be able to see, it was such a gift to be there when he passed, to see that. I know that sounds super crazy when you say it out loud, but what a gift to be there in that moment and to know that, I mean, just to have somebody's soul leave that body while you're there and know that they're not there anymore is powerful. It is
Yeah.
really, really powerful to see him there and know, oh, he's gone. Like, he's not here anymore. And I think that was super helpful for us too, because, you know, we knew that he was in a better place. We knew that he was gone from that body and in that cancer and in that pain. You know, he was gone from it. So it was super,
Yeah,
super
that was
cool.
pretty amazing just to see God's work in that. And yeah, we actually got pulled over on the way there too. I'm bawling my eyes out, and the officer's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, my dad is dying. We're going to see him." And he's like, "Okay, y'all can have a warning. Just please be careful, drive safe, don't speed."
Yeah, because the weather was terrible.
Yeah.
The weather was terrible. And you guys got there, you drive through the night, got there.
Yeah,
And
we drove
it was so
tonight.
cool because we were sitting, so it was just Dad and I in the room. And he couldn't talk. He had lost all the muscle mass in his face, and so he couldn't talk. He would just moan. And so I'd give him tea, or I'd roll him over, get him, you know, change him and stuff. So, you know, he would make sounds, and I would know he needed something. And so we were just sitting there in the night, and I was just sitting in the dark, just sitting there. And Dad sat up out of his bed and reached out and said, "Mom." And I was like, oh, oh. And I called my grandmother Honey. And so I knew she was there in the room with us. And I said, "Honey, oh, I know you're here to take him, but Carly's on her way. And it would really be cool if you could just wait a little bit. She should be here shortly. Like, if you could just hold off a little bit longer." And
I got there at 4, and then he passed at 7:20.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I like, I'm gonna step out. I'm gonna give you some time with him. I'm gonna be just right outside the door. You just let me know what happens. And I did. I stepped out and I just bawled my eyes out outside the door, you know. But I knew his mom was there, you know, with him. I knew she had come to get him, and I mean, just the fact that he could set up and reach out and called out to her. I mean, it was just so powerful. I mean, you can't even put that into words. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And then,
So-
and then when Dad passed, it was like 7 a.m, and we're all standing outside the door crying because they were in getting him prepared, right? The nurses and stuff were in there preparing him, and they asked us the most random question. They're like, "Is there anything on the body that you want?" And we're like, "He's in a hospital gown. They don't have anything. Like you don't have jewelry or anything." And Carly's like, they're like, "Well, like false teeth or hearing aids." And I'm like, "What the hell are we gonna do with his false teeth and like, no." I'm like, "No." And Carly's like, "Well, he has a false tooth."
I should have been like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take him. I can pawn that." Can you imagine what they would have been like?
Well, they already thought we were crazy because we're all just standing there in the room, you know, Carly, Ted, Jake, and I. And Carly says, "Well, he has that one false tooth." And they're just looking at us, and I'm like, "What are we going to do with a tooth?" And Jake's like, "We can put it on the pillow for the tooth fairy." And we are all, because we're so emotional, we've been up all night. We are now
Yeah.
hysterically laughing, and they're just standing there waiting for us to tell them if we want his tooth or not.
You
Like,
know, they were like standing there awkwardly,
so
like,
like, and we're crying,
okay.
laughing, cannot, because we know we also have that condition. So we're like
Oh.
crying and laughing.
So, do you want his tooth or oh no? Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay, it's fine.
Anything
Okay,
else?
so we step out the door for them to finish up, and here comes the little candy stripe girl with the breakfast, and she's like, good morning," like she just waking up, taking a shower, she's all fresh, and the lady that's the, I don't know what lady,
I
she
don't know.
was
She
some
was some
administrative lady,
coordinator lady.
yeah, and she's like trying to talk to us, and here comes this candy striper just bebopping up with her with the tray of food. And the lady is physically going, "No, stop, get away, go away," waving her arms like it's an airplane. We're like, we can see you. Like, it would have been so much easier for you to just say, "We don't need the food here." Like, move, pass on. And no, she's doing all of this. Like, no, go away, stop. And so now Carly and I are crying because we're like, we can't get it together because this lady is being
Well, no,
absolutely
because you said
ridiculous.
something to the girl too,
I
like,
said he doesn't need it, and the lady just
I
looked
don't
at
think
me.
he's hungry.
Yeah, and we Carly and I are crying laughing because this lady's being so ridiculous, and the candy shop is like, okay, and she just like turns and walks away, and we're like, what an awkward, such an awkward moment. But how do we don't know how we're supposed to respond. We've never done this before.
Oh, that was so funny. So, I have a couple stories though. I'm totally jumping ship, but like I was saying, a lot of my stuff happens too when I'm driving. Like a lot of my God stories, right? So I'm driving on 95, and there's like this really bad like area where it's known for having accidents. Well, there was a sheriff on the side, and all the cars in front of me started slamming on their brakes. Well, the van that was in front of me hit the car in front of him, but I was able to stop because I like to keep a distance a little bit, not too far, but enough to where I can stop.
Yeah.
So I stopped just in time, right? Well, the truck behind me is not paying attention, so he comes veering up, and he swerves to miss me and hit the car beside me, right? So now I'm kind of like nestled in there, and all the other cars in front of us drove off. Well, now this truck hit, all these other cars are piling up. There is a huge pileup around me. Like, no joke. Everybody's going off the highway, onto the side, on the ramps, on the off ramps. I mean, there was cars everywhere. Meanwhile, the two cars that wrecked in front of me, they pull off onto the side. So, and then all the other cars are gone because all the other cars are wrecked. And this
Yeah.
all drove off, right? So I drive up by myself to the sheriff, and he's sitting there on his computer, and I'm stopped in the middle of 95 waving at him like, sir, sir. And he looks over at me, and he looks so annoyed, and he puts his window down, and I'm like, there's a huge pile up back there, like huge accident. And he's like, okay, like he turned around, looks and looks back, okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this guy. But it was crazy. Like I totally drove off there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I had angels with me for that. It was nuts. I mean, everywhere around me wrecked, everybody, and nothing hit my car. It was crazy. And then another time, I witnessed an accident. Right? I witnessed an accident, and it was a horrible accident. They had both passed. Well, the family had asked us, hey, did you notice if she was wearing a necklace? She had a
Yeah, because
Tiffany.
you guys stopped, right? Like you were the first car on the scene.
We were the first on the scene. Yeah, we ran up, helped. Like it was very bad. So, and we gave our statement. So the family had all of our information and stuff. So they contacted us and were like, hey, did you notice if she was wearing a necklace? We gave her this Tiffany's necklace. She'd just gotten it, and we just want to get it back. And we were like, no, sorry, I didn't notice her necklace. So
You're like, wasn't paying attention before she was wearing a necklace.
no, but I was there like consoling her. Like it was not a good situation.
Yeah.
So, so years down the road, I'm like, hey, let's just pull over and look and see if we can't find this necklace, right? We're here, let's just do it. It was like almost 2 years down the road, I think. So we pull off. I'm not kidding you. The lawn had just been mowed. I look over. On top of the grass blades is a Tiffany's necklace.
So weird.
It was the craziest thing. I like get goosebumps just
I
thinking
know.
about it.
Like I'm just thinking about it. I have goosebumps.
It was just mowed, and this Tiffany's necklace, we mailed it back to the family. Like, they were so happy, and like,
I mean, could you imagine? They're like, how do you even fathom that? 2 years later, and it shows up in the mail. I mean, could you imagine what they were thinking? Like, this is unbelievable.
I can't even tell you. Like, that was totally a God thing. Like, that thing was sitting on top of the grass that had been mowed multiple times. Like, I can't believe that it was there. And I
And you
walked
know
up
it must have shown up to their house at the moment that they needed it,
they needed. Yeah.
right?
I bet it did. They were, I mean, they were so happy. I mean, they were, but it, oh, creep. It was so like, oh, because I walked right up to that beast and I was like, oh my gosh. it's a
You know you want to just throw up. You're like,
Oh,
"Ugh,
I
ugh,
did.
okay,
I was like,
I'm
oh my
okay."
God. Okay, God. Okay. Like, okay. It was crazy.
But
So
then
then,
it's so dumb because then it's like we know God is in our life and we know He's telling us to do things and He's given us direction of what we're supposed to do, and yet I still screw around and do my own
question,
shit, right? And then I'm like, I don't know why this is not working out. Well, duh, like
yeah.
yeah.
So Ted tells me, I tell them that we're doing God stories, and he's like, you should tell my story about the tarp. And so what had happened was he had to get, this is back when we had an open trailer, and he needed to get a tarp because we were traveling. Well, he goes into the store, and all they had was this huge tarp. And he's like, what the hell am I going to do with this huge tarp? Like, this thing is so big, but whatever. I'll fold it in half, and I'll use it. So he gets this tarp, and he's driving on the road, and the exit that he gets off of, there's a family sitting on the side, and they have a sign that says, all we need is a tarp.
Oh, it's so crazy.
So Ted pulls over and he goes, it's your lucky day, my friend. Here's a tarp. I just bought it. And it was a ginormous one. So he was like, no freaking way. Like, all right, here you are.
Here's
like,
your sign.
tarp.
Here's your sign.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's so crazy. Well, and it's funny because like Jake is so sweet and he's so much more giving than I am. I mean, he's just so giving. And I remember, when we were younger and our kids were little, we were eating peanut butter and jellies and changing diapers, right? I mean, just, working. He was working nights. I was bartending, keeping kids during the day. He would work days and then go work nights. And we were just tagging each other through the night just to make ends meet. And I remember one day he said, there was this family on the side of the road and they ran out of gas. So I filled up their gas tank and I lost my shit because we had like $15 in our account. And he it literally used all of our money. I think we had like $1.36 left in something in our account after he did that. And I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And he's like, it's fine. It's fine. It's going to be okay. And I'm like sweating. Like, I'm like, well, how are we going to get diapers? And, how are we going to do this? And sure enough, a check comes in the mail, like covers it all. Everything's fine. It was and that's happened 2 times that were significant like that. Jake's grandfather was dying and, Jake had to go because nobody else could lift him and bathe him and do all that stuff. And so Jake's like, I mean, I think I literally had $1 and change in our account. I have the bank statement from that time. I have it tucked away in a box. Um, and we just looked at each other like, because we had lost so many people in those couple years that
Back to
we,
back, yeah.
yeah, it was like every 6 months we were planning a funeral or going to one. And we said, you have to go. And he had a work truck, and the work truck had a full tank of gas, and he could fill up as long as he was in his area, his service area with his card. And so I said, well, just go. We'll figure it out. It'll be okay. And so Jake left on that one tank of gas, and he got to Arkansas and was there with his grandfather to be able to help him and clean him and stuff. And Jake shared the gospel with him while he was there. So that was a blessing. And yeah, and then the next day we got a overpayment that we had paid, I don't know, a year and a half prior, that they were like, oh, by the way, you overpaid this. And it came in, and it was enough to get him food while he was there, groceries for me and the kids, and then gas for him to get home. Like, it was just like the perfect amount. And I just thought, every time God shows up, every time we need him, he's like,
Yeah, I'm never shy with giving money, because every time, if we are ever in a pinch and something comes up, it always is provided. Like the lottery ticket, like the scratch off. I mean, we that's how we started our business, was with a scratch off. We won $500 on scratch off and bought our first pressure washer. Like, 'cause I mean, it's amazing how God will provide. So I never hold back money. I'm telling you, like, every time when I'm like, oh, I know I can't do this, that's when I'm like, you better do it.
you gotta do it. I know, and I'm like, that's my hardest lesson. I mean, just growing up and not having a lot, you just try to hold on to it. And where Jake is just the opposite. He's like, okay, we have $5, here's $4, we'll have $1 just in case. Like, and he's done that multiple times, and I just want to throw up every time. I'm like,
I know, that's how
why
Ted
would you
is
do that?
too.
Why would you do that? Why? Like, what?
I know.
And he's like, God'll get us. And I'm like, what? I think he gave us that $5. I'm pretty sure that was the $5 he gave us.
He knows we needed that $5. He knows we needed it. We really did.
But it just teaches me a lesson to be more giving, and I'm like, here you go, But again, like you said, when you're free about it and you do it, it's much better.
So I have two stories of Ted with like reverse God, where the other person was more blessed, I guess. So we used to work at a restaurant downtown, this nice restaurant, right? But it was downtown Jacksonville, and it was very, there's a lot of homeless there. So we used to go around, and I probably called them the wrong thing, but we made blessing bags.
Good call on that. Good call on that.
We made blessing
You're
bags.
so holy with what you really.
So we would make these bags, and we would go around town and hand them out to the homeless communities. And one day we go, and I'm like, Ted, there's a guy over there. Go give it to him. So he's running, trying to get there quick. So he's not looking, and he has his blessing bag, and he's looking down, running. He's trying to get there, and he comes back to the car, and I'm like, what? What's wrong? He goes, am I bleeding? He goes, I ran into that sign over there. And it is like a huge metal sign. I mean, this thing is like 5 by 6, and it's just swinging. I was like, oh no, hey, you're not bleeding. It's okay. He's like, okay. And he goes over and gives the blessing back. It was so funny because the guy was so happy, but Ted about killed himself trying to give him this blessing bag. And then when we worked down there, we were working one night, and Ted got a whole bunch of wings from the restaurant that were like they were gonna throw away, and he was like, "Oh no, don't throw those away! Like, I'll take them." Right? He filled this entire to-go box, so he forgot something inside the restaurant, and he put them on the outside bench just for a second, because you really weren't supposed to be seen like taking food out of the restaurant. So he didn't want to bring them back in, because he's like, shit, I forgot my stuff. I gotta go back and get it. So he leaves it on. He comes back, and them wings are gone. So You know, some homeless man's like, "Thank you, God, thank you."
I'm so hungry. I was so
I was
hungry.
so hungry. And he got the jackpot, man. Those wings were so good.
You know, it was like,
Packed.
oh, and nobody's around. He's like, this has got to be a gift. This is manna from heaven.
Dude,
So,
I was crying. Like, you know, that guy's so happy right now.
so happy. So mom, our mom, I mean, she just has such a servant heart and she's always helping people, but sometimes she gets into trouble because she tries to help people that don't need to be helped.
Yeah. I mean, we do that too, but
I do too, but yeah, she's done it a lot more than we have for sure. So the other day we're driving and we're going shopping. We had to go get party stuff, and so we're in the parking lot, and we come up and there's this guy walking down the street, and he's just rough. Like you can tell he's an addict, and his clothes are dirty and ripped off and whatever, and his shoes are just like they look like slippers, but they're sneakers. Right? That makes sense. Like they're so ripped and torn and stuff.
yeah.
And I see her jack her head over. I'm like, shit. Like,
You're gonna be yelling out the window, "What size shoes do you wear?"
I said to
You're
her,
gonna be yelling.
I said, Judy, did you just size that guy up and you're asking what size shoes he wears and if we could actually get to Target and back to him in time before he turns the corner? And she's like, yes, I did. Do you think we can do that? And I'm like, Judy, there's no way we can catch that guy. Even if we get into Target, find shoes that match him, and then get back out, that dude's gone. Like because it wasn't, he was gonna turn. It wasn't like a long stretch. But I just laughed. I was like, Judy, did you just size that guy up? She's like, yes, I did. Can we go get? Because she's always doing that. Like
Always. I do
she's
now too. I am my mother's daughter. Like, I have all these bags I had in my trunk waiting for somebody to
You're
be able
just
to give
waiting.
them to.
So mom had a jacket in her car that she was donating, for somebody because it's cold up there. And so she
Yeah.
was donating. And so she saw this girl walking down the street and she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, she's the right size for this jacket. And she's like, this is perfect. And so mom pulls over and she's like, honey, do you need a jacket? I have a really nice jacket that'll fit you. And she's like, oh, I'm not homeless.
I didn't know that happened.
I think mom was like, well, it's a really nice purple jacket. You'll love it.
Did the girl take it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think the girl was offended. Like, I'm not homeless.
Oh my god.
But
That's
she
probably
doesn't.
like worse than saying, "Are you pregnant?" And you're not. Like that. I don't know. Like you look homeless.
Like when you try to give somebody food and they're like, thanks, but I'm just waiting for my wife, like, to come out of the restaurant. Like, you're like, oh, sorry about that. I'll take that then back. Thanks. It was,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, that's the downfall or the danger in doing that. It's like, you better hope they really are homeless.
When mom was here a couple times ago, we realized that we both gave the same homeless guy stuff.
Oh,
Like
yeah, she
stopped
told
and
me
gave-
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
But
I
tell
was,
tell it.
well, I forgot his name, but anyway, she went and gave him like, I think she gave him clothes and stuff, and then Ted and I gave him food and drinks.
Yeah.
And then we were like, "Hey, is your name?" And he was like, "Yeah, it is." And I was like, "Oh, my mom gave you the clothes and blankets and stuff the other day." And he goes, "Oh, thanks so much." Like he's so happy. But I'm like, it's so funny. Like, apple doesn't fall far from the
No,
tree.
it doesn't. I try to say it dropped and rolled, but every day I'm like, no. And it was so funny because when mom was here, we would go places together and people would just stare at us.
Are they twins?
I'm like, it's not a circus. Get a look and look away. Like, yeah, we look the same. I get it. We're the same. I get it. Like, move on. It's just, but like when I see myself, I don't think I look like her. And she says the same thing when she doesn't think that I look like her either.
Oh, I know. I don't think so either.
But when other people see us, they're like, oh, wow. And I mean, they will physically just stare. And I'm like, oh, like, get a good look and move. And so I was laughing with our friend who I told Mom, I was like, well, it makes sense because she knew you, Mom, at my age, right? Because we went to college together, so she remembers Judy looking like me now.
Yeah.
You know, so for her, she's like, she told me, she said, you're the only one who doesn't see it. And I'm like, I get that. I totally get that. But it was just so funny because I'll walk by pictures and I'm like, I don't remember oh, that's Mom. Like I totally, in pictures I can see the resemblance, but in real life I don't.
Mhm.
But
So, I have a story I forgot to tell you about my week too this week. So yesterday I was doing a house and the neighbors, I'm driving off and I'm looking, I'm like, huh, that's weird. The neighbor's house, this is totally off topic, but the neighbor's house at the bottom of the driveway, you know, how people like always run over their sprinkler heads and stuff and they'll put like stones or rocks
yeah,
or,
yeah, yeah.
you know. Dude put saw blades.
On the
He had
corners of his driveway?
legit saw blades in the corners. Like I was like, oh dang, that man said F around and
He
find
said,
out.
he said, stay off the yard.
I
Stay off the yard.
know. I was
What
like,
kind of shit is that? Like, what if
I
you
know, I
fell on your
called you, you
bike?
didn't answer. I was like freaking out, like, dude had saw blades.
He's serious.
Yeah, he's not messing around. He's like, I have changed enough sprinkler heads. Like, I'm done with this shit. Yeah.
Who does that?
I know. And then last week I forgot to tell you too about Nolan with
Oh.
we went to he was going to school and him and his buddy were wearing pajama pants and I was like, ooh, Nolan, I don't know if you want to wear those pants because he had like the black and red checker pants. Like, ooh, I don't know if you want to wear those pants. I saw this girl wearing them yesterday and you don't want to follow her suit. Like you're gonna wear, you know. And he's like, it's fine. I don't care. It's fine. So we show up to school and he goes, uh-oh, this is not good. 50 Phillips is wearing my pants.
So the Hello Kitty girl
Hello Kitty girl. Yeah,
is
she
wearing
has
the
a
same
vacuum
pants.
But yeah.
So
It
now
is
he's
so
got to go all day with the Hello Kitty girl twinning. Didn't they make fun of him
Yep.
that it was his girlfriend?
Well, his buddy
I
that
made
was
fun of him that it was his girlfriend. I'm like, oh, you're
yeah.
twinning. That's so cute. He's like, he's so sweet to me. He won't tell me to shut up, but he was like, really.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
He's
First
so
time.
funny. He makes me laugh so hard.
I was messing with him last night. He's in playing Xbox with his buddies, and I come in, and I'm messing with him and like poking him, go boop boop his nose, and then he's like talking, and he's talking to his friends, and I'm going boop boop. He's like, stop, mom, and I'm crying, laughing, doing it to him, and then I did it again, and my nail like stabbed him in his nose. He's like, oh, and I'm like, ugh, either that's booger or that's your skin.
It's so funny. You know, Mother's Day is coming up. And so for Easter, I don't know if I told you this, but so Emily sent me these memes. And it was the lady crying. And she's like, my mom doesn't love me. Have you seen those? She's like, my mom doesn't love me. And she's crying. And the mom's in the background. She's like, I didn't say that. She said, yes, you did. And she's like, I said you were too old for an Easter basket. She's like, it's the same thing. And so Emily sends me a meme and it says, if my mom doesn't get me an Easter basket, she's not getting a Mother's Day gift. I was like, ow, that's hard.
Right? Dang.
I know, I just realized I didn't actually give them their Easter money yet. Uh-oh. So sorry. So sorry. I transferred money today. Late Easter. Sorry about that. But yeah, so
Well-
I was laughing. So hopefully I'll get a Mother's Day gift.
I doubt it.
I know, I didn't give her Easter money yet. She probably not.
She's probably not. She's like, yeah, FAO. I'm gonna send you some saw blades for Mother's Day.
I gotta give her Easter gift so she can buy me a Mother's Day gift with it.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
She broke.
That's
She
funny.
broke the college girl.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't. But she got some cute clothes. I'm like, is that your grocery money?
Yeah, she's like, I'm starving.
But look how cute I am in this dress.
I know. Oh,
Well, it's been fun, sister.
yeah.
I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yep, next Tuesday. Thanks everybody for listening.